Thank you for joining us in this video. Today I would like to invite you to reflect on a topic that defines a country's global influence, U.S. foreign policy. This concept is not limited to diplomatic agreements or trade treaties. It is about how a state projects its power, interests, and values on the international stage. When we speak of foreign policy, we are referring to the set of decisions, strategies, and actions that a country implements to relate to other states and international organizations. In the case of the United States, these decisions have an enormous impact from the economy to the security and culture of other nations. The purpose of this presentation is to analyze two main aspects of U.S. foreign policy.
First, its advantages. These include international leadership participation in strategic alliances such as NATO, the promotion of democracy and human rights, and humanitarian aid in a crisis situation. These actions have contributed to generating cooperation and stability in different global scenarios. However, we cannot ignore the disadvantages. These include military interventions that have led to protracted conflicts and decisions motivated by economic self-interest, and the policies that sometimes negatively affect the weaker the countries. The consequences of their action is also the question, as they do not always apply the same standard as its decision. Their interests, which can generate mistrust at the international level. U.S. foreign policy is one of the most influential and debated in the world today. Some see it the beacon on the hope and stability, others as force that generate the problem and conflicts in this community will present the clear arguments both for against, so that we can better understand this is complex reality. Are you ready to discover the meaning, the face of U.S. foreign policies?
First, it's important to recognize the leadership role that the United States has played globally for decades. Since the end of World War II, it has been the country that promotes international institutions like the UN and NATO, created to preserve peace and cooperation among nations. Without this leadership, global stability will be much more at risk.
Of course, but military interventions, also justified on official occasions, have left a complicit legacy. Conflicts such as those in Iraq and Afghanistan have prolonged wars, caused thousands of civilian deaths, and created instability in irritated regions. These interventions raise questions. What is the true human cost? Are they always the best solutions?
Well, on the other hand, U.S. foreign policy promotes trade agreements that benefit multiple countries, including strategic allies and emerging partners. This treaty opens markets, creates jobs, and fosters economic cooperation. For example, the treaty between Mexico, the United States, and Canada has boosted regional trade and enhanced value chains.
Okay, in this regard, many experts point out the U.S. foreign policy influences big economic and corporate interests rather than altruistic values. Decisions often favor large corporations or strategic sectors, leaving the rights and uber or after population in the background.
Not only that, but the U.S. is one of the largest donors of humanitarian aid in the world. In cases of natural disaster, health crisis, or wars, these countries send resources, medical equipment, and personnel to save lives and reduce suffering. Let us remember its participation in the relief efforts after the tsunami in Asia, or its response during the Ebola crisis.
Very well. but the impact on weaker countries is often negative. Economic or military policies can lead to dependency, social deterioration, or inequality in countries with less power, which end up being pawns in a global power game.
Well, but something must be emphasized. A fundamental pillar of its policy has been the defense of democracy. The United States has promoted the right for people to choose their governments freely, protecting values such as freedom of expression, human rights, and justice. This is reflected in its support for pro-democracy movements and its rejection of authoritarian regimes.
Finally, the most controversial criticism: double standards. The United States is inquired of applying different standards according to its interest. It sometimes supports dictatorships when they are allies and condemns other governments with harsh sanctions if they do not comply with its demands. This undermines credibility and generous international distrust.
Okay, but the strategic alliances such as NATO not only guarantee the security of its members, as you say, that only suit their interests, but also function as a protective shield against global threats such as terrorist or military aggressions. These coalitions keep the peace and strengthen ties between countries. Can we imagine a world without the leadership and alliances that the United States has forged? Undoubtedly, this approach has contributed to the stability that many enjoyed.
But can a country that applies different rules for its friends and adversaries really stand for universal values?
To sum up, U.S. foreign policies is a powerful tool with the complex effects it and driver on the global leadership, aid and democracy, but also on the source of controversy, conflicts, and legitimate and persistent. Looking at the both sides all the way, U.S. to better understand it, the challenge and the possibility the parent lowers and the fairs and the more and the peaceful the future. Based on data observers of the argument for against, they defend the policies of the United States. The argument of favor are the global leaderships and humanitarian aid, the defense of democracies, and strategic alliances that are the board as promoters of the peace and the cooperation, as well as human rights, strategies, and international security in the face of the constants, the direct and the worldwide. And however, they aren't the main variants. In the midst, not all the country, there's the United States and enmity and the conflict, attraction amongst the armed military intervention, economic interests, the TW standard that substance gain the recurrence and but losing in the credibility and before all the powers or alliance the countries. What they little be regions hold in the floating and society, and with it important for a student to understand the political process.
Foreign policy directly influences everyone's life, whether it is the smallest country or the most fragile state or the most potential state in the world. The treaties that are signed, the conventions that are ratified, and the agreements that do not always lead to peace affect economies, the organization of society, and diplomatic relations, among other aspects, leading the international system towards decadence and generating conflicts that result in humanitarian crisis. This is why reflecting on this topic will help anyone who wants to listen to understand and expand their awareness toward critical thinking in order to form opinions that contribute to building a more just and balanced international system. Don't give up to keep building a community, a group of friends, a whole country, and a more peaceful world, leaning its influence toward fair policies and debating on how to start building on what has already been destroyed. Thank you for right now. This is not the end. We are the beginning.